All right, so this demo is going to go through color grading in Adobe Rush. This is something we've been talking about in class, so I'm going to go ahead and just real fast create a new project and just kind of start talking about this. So I'm going to create a new project. I'm just going to add some media. What I've done is I've already downloaded some footage off of Pexels. So I'm going to go to my files. I'm going to go import from files, and let's go ahead and find the footage I want to test out. So I've got a couple different clips here that I could work on with this that I think will work. So if you're going to Pexels, you're looking for stuff, just really simple videos. I just downloaded some like footage of cars moving on streets, or just footage of a city, but anything would work. So I'm gonna go ahead and title this color grade test, and hit create. So it's gonna pull in all my footage here, but none of it's going to be color graded. So you can see here as I kind of scroll through, you can see my like little the scene with the boat, and then we go to the city, and this one where it's a nice little roundabout pan shot here. So I'm going to take a look at this. I'm actually going to take real quick, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to break this clip up into a couple different things so we can kind of see what the original would look like and then some of the color grades that I do to it. So I'm going to hit my scissors, and I'm just going to cut this into like 3 or 4 clips. So I'm going to leave the initial image here just totally alone to the original video. I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to tap on it. For color grading, what color grading is really you taking the essence of like the idea or the feel of the film and applying that to the video. So if you wanted something to look kind of creepy, or you wanted something to look vintage or more mysterious or just really dark, you can add those things. So I'm going to go over here to my colors, which are the 3 interlocking circles, and you can see I have presets. So some of these presets we'll see if I tap cinematic, for instance, it's going to give me this particular look. I have film, I have SL Kodak. So you can test out what's already in there. For me, I'm going to go into my presets. Now I've already made a couple. So for instance, this one is my interpretation of a Michael Bay kind of color grade edit, where he will use like blues and teals and oranges, and really kind of push some of the darks also in there. I have my creepy kind of edit right here. I have just some random one that has a little bit of a vignette on it. I have my Wes Anderson. I also have one that I kind of based off of the Matrix too. So I think I can probably do better than this one. So I'm gonna create a new Matrix one. I'm gonna stay on this second one, but what I'm gonna do is scroll up and just hit none. So there's no effect on this right now. When you wanna customize your own color edit, you wanna go to edit. And now we're gonna play around a little bit. So when I'm talking about the Matrix, I'm talking about a really green tint because it's all based in coding and just kind of like this dark, dismal kind of look. So first thing is we want to make this kind of look green. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play around. Now, if I slide my tint over to the left, you can see that already made it pretty green. If I slide to the right, I'm getting more of a purple. So I definitely want that to be more green. You can also play around with my temperature here. Okay, this obviously makes it more yellow. This will make it a little bit more blue. I actually think that should probably stay kind of towards the middle. So I'm really not going to play around with that too much. What I am going to do is actually maybe tone this down a little bit so it's not quite as saturated. So I'm going to take this and just drop it just a little bit on the saturation level. So that's just kind of taking out a little bit of color. And then maybe I'll play with my shadows. Let's see what looks best. Push my highlights, make those a little bit brighter. Take my contrast. So the big one here is really the green, right? We really need that green. Maybe I'll get a little bit of contrast in there. If you go down to advanced though, you can see you have some other options. Faded film, right? We turn that up. That kind of takes the blacks out. I'm gonna take and maybe play with sharpening. Your vignette, that's gonna be this kind of like dark edge to it. So if you push that up, you're gonna get white. If you push it down, you're gonna get your darks. And then you can feather this. So you can be a really hard circle or just kind of very kind of just soft on the edges. So I actually like this, just with a little bit of that vignette effect on there. And so I'm going to save this as my new Matrix one. So I'm going to go to the 3 dots on the top right here in my color drop down. I'm going to set create preset, and this one's going to be Ficus Matrix 21. Hit save. So this will actually save in my presets. So I go to presets, I go down, there it is. And so this one I can just then go ahead and apply for anything. So let's go ahead and test out another one. All right, so I'm gonna go to a new one. I'm gonna show you how to make my Michael Bay option. So I'm gonna go to edit, and let's go ahead and let's go into temperature. Okay, so for the temperature for Michael Bay films, a little bit more of like that golden warmth, almost like a little bit too hot. The tint, okay, that just, I don't even like that right now. I'm just gonna leave that alone. So I want to get that kind of back to 0. I believe I can probably tap and manually put that in as well. So I'm just gonna reset that to 0. And okay, so I have my orange, but I need to maybe boost those teals and oranges. So I'm gonna actually saturate this a little bit more. I'm gonna put my saturation. I'm at 136. That looks pretty good, right? If you're thinking Michael Bay, we're talking like Transformers, or there's a couple other big name films that he's done. But when you look at that, this has actually been used in a lot of different films. So you'll see the orange teal effect in a lot of films nowadays. Other things you could play around with. I believe that in his, maybe the grays or the blacks are a little bit lighter, so I might push my shadows maybe to be a little bit lighter. Let's see. That looks pretty good. So again, I could save this one if I wanted to. All right. Another challenge might be to go to a new clip and try out like horror type of film, make it kind of look creepy. So I might drop my exposure. I might push my saturation level way down. Maybe have a little bit of color. My temperature. Do I want it to be cool? Do I want it to be warm? So again, I'm just kind of toying around here and just seeing what I can come up with. What kind of horror film would probably depend on what you make this look like. If you want this to be a little bit darker, you could actually do some really cool stuff. You could take a scene like this, and actually we could even try that on another one. Try to make this look like a nighttime scene. So I could drop down my highlights, dim my shadows out, get my my exposure way down. I'll push my highlights back up. So we can kind of play around here and really make this appear like it is not daytime anymore, right? And so I'm doing a pretty good job, and this is only in Premiere Rush, so we're not really, we're not doing a whole lot of, we don't have like every option that our regular Premiere would have. So that actually looks kind of cool for like a nighttime scene. I think it works, decently well. Obviously, if I push it up, I can play around a little bit more, but that looks pretty good. So I'm actually just going to leave that one. So, and then you can skim and kind of test these out, right? And just see if you like that. You could also layer up videos and play around with that too. So, and so any of these clips, really, like, you're just doing the same stuff where you're going in, you're clicking on a clip. Again, you might want to break it up and then go in and just kind of play around with these different settings. Again, we're talking exposure, we're talking, is it really, really bright? Is it really, really dark? How much light was getting to that film, and does the film seem bright or not? Contrast is going to be our separation between lights and darks. So if I drop that, I'm going to get way more grays. If I push it, I'm going to get my whites and my darks to be popping a lot more. Highlights, do I want my highlights to be really bright, or do I want my highlights to be a little bit lower? Shadows, do I want my shadows to be super dark, or do I want to be a little bit more grayed out? Okay, that's something you'll see in Wes Anderson films. Temperature, cool, warm. Tint, we got our green, we got our magenta. Vibrance, let's see, kind of like the intensity level of that color a little bit, not quite the saturation, but just the intensity level of it. And then saturation is how much color is being in there, how much are we influencing that color. So you can kind of see here. And again, anything can be used. So this could be a video that you filmed yourself, or it could be video that you find off of Pexels or something else. So go ahead and try out color grading.